Hey friends, listen, it has been a joy just journeying with you through 30 days of these video devotionals, and we're just really at about the halfway point. But I know that your life has been bettered because these devotionals are designed to lead you to just really having better relationships. I am thoroughly convinced that 2014 is the year to do relationships better. And so I've been discussing my new book, The People Factor, with some of my dear friends, tremendous people, leaders in their sphere of influence, and it has been a joy. Now, I got to tell you guys, today we got a big one on our hands because in chapter 7, I deal with what I call the law against secrets. And, you know, the overarching title and heading is that what you don't know can hurt you. Now, let me tell you why this is so critical, because we live in a day and time where a lot of times people are not transparent. And they lead into relationships with what I call a false self. Claude McKay, the Harlem Renaissance poet, once wrote a poem, and it's called We Wear the Mask. And the first line goes like this: we wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our teeth and it shades our eyes. And I really believe that that's how many people do relationships. So they put on a mask. We've heard all about the catfish stories of people in social media who present a false persona. And then you get into those relationships and find out that, wait a minute, you are totally different than who you presented yourself to be. And so many people have been unnecessarily hurt because of that. And so in this chapter, it's a big one, because I'm telling you, you have got to learn how to put people on trial so that you understand who they really are. Now, Roxanne, I know you're kind of excited to jump in here. I see it on your face. Let's talk about this for a second. What are your thoughts about that?
Pastor Van, I just have so much respect for you and your vulnerability here. This is where my heart hurt for you with a new hire, and you found out secrets. And you thought you'd investigated, but maybe not thoroughly enough. And you suffered a great deal because of it, and I appreciate it. Must have been painful. How much you share in this book about that process. So what class have we learned? You can put someone on trial. Life-changing for me, absolutely life-changing, and I've put it into practice. I thought, well, I don't want to judge them. I don't want to ask too many questions. That's their personal life. But you know what? If you're going to get close to me, I want to know. And transparency is key. There is freedom in transparency.
Very much so.
Roxanne, that was awesome. My take is a little bit different. You know, when you talk about putting people on trial, I had to ask myself, am I willing to be put on trial by other people? And I have been by God, and it was because of a secret that I had, and that I still have a very hard time talking about it. It was something I was duped into and didn't know it for a very long time until I was well into the situation. And God tells me years later, I didn't choose you to go through that, to keep it a secret.
Oh, wow.
And I have used it a lot now. And people, where I thought people would look at me differently and go, I cannot believe you did that. I cannot believe you, not you, allowed yourself to get caught up in a situation like that. And I did, and I was ashamed of it. My father was a pastor. My mom, you know, he died when I was very young, but my mom always talked about him. I was born in church, raised in church, went to church every Sunday and all through the weekend. So who allows themselves to get caught up in these situations? And I just knew that's what people would think about me. And when he said that to me, it's like, you didn't just go through it. I chose you to go through it. I chose you to go through that. And, you know, they say God has a sense of humor. Not so funny. That was not so funny, but I thank him for choosing me for that now, because when I got bold enough and I got mature enough to shine light on it, it was very healing for me, as many of the stories that you've shared in here past. And then I found that it's been very healing to others. And I'm comfortable talking about it now. So I appreciate you putting yourself out there. It makes me want to even do it more. because you really put yourself out there. And I am so appreciative that you did that. People know you're human. You bring a great message, but the messages that you have in here are absolutely phenomenal, and it's helping me to heal even now, 20 years past that incident.
Wow.
20 years past.
When you talk about that shameful place, that space because of that secret, it makes me wonder, past, does the enemy use secrets to keep us trapped? Because that's what I envision it as.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that Paul tells Timothy as he's mentoring him and trying to get him ready for ministry, he says to be careful to not fall into the trap of disgrace. And he talks about how the enemy will use that. See, a lot of times what the enemy does is he tries to really force us to live in secret places and to live with our secret battles, or to continue to go to secret, rendezvous and have secret lives, because what he threatens us with is disgrace.
Wow.
But we are our best selves when we're our true selves. You can't really experience all that God has for you individually or even in a relationship until you relinquish all of that and really come out of it. And that's really what I focus on in this chapter, that there's so many individuals that are still living those lives of secrets, and they don't have to. And like I talked about before, your past never defines your future. That's the beauty of the God that we serve. But secrets are so detrimental to relationships. So many people won't fully give themselves to another person because they're so wrapped up in that secret. But here's the thing, if I'm trying to have a real relationship with you, I can't really fully be myself.
Or vulnerable.
Because our true selves are vulnerable. You guys reference how I put myself out there. Well, the thing is, if I told the story without putting myself out there, it wouldn't be me.
It'd be fluff. This
would be fluff.
This wouldn't be the people factor.
And so many people have fluffy relationships.
Wow.
Because they don't really put their whole self in.
It's worth it in the end because you end up getting a result you didn't expect, a freedom you didn't know you could have. This whole time you were locked in your head thinking, oh, if I say this, this is gonna happen. Yeah. If I ask this question, if I reveal this, and I still have secrets. That's just truth. I'm a human being with a whole lot of flaws and a whole lot of secret spaces that I don't necessarily want to reveal. But as I continue to work through this book, reread, go back, highlight again, pray, wait, ask questions, the healing, it continues to happen.
I think it's probably one of the most difficult chapters for a lot of people to really self-examine themselves. And like you said before, are they willing to put themselves on trial or be on trial as well? And being transparent is difficult for a lot of people. And so I think for me, and I think about this and being transparent and being open, it's all about the fact that you have to be very selective in your choices, and go back to the menu aspect and selecting those items and who you are being friends with and who you are developing relationships with. You cannot do that and be totally transparent with everybody. You cannot maintain a high level of friendships and close relationships with everybody. You can't do that. So you had to be very selective. My close relationships, they know me, but that's not everybody. I mean, I literally can count them on my hand. I know a lot of people, but that doesn't mean that everybody's on that same level. So for me, that's just so key to this. And it's just, past this book, just all of the aspects of what this book breaks down in relationships and understanding. I mentioned this to you before we even got started. I wish I could, I'm a Back to the Future fan. I wish I could go back and give this book to myself, like the almanac, and say, okay, here, read this book. I need to read this book. And I really wish I could have, because it would have really made a lot of difference in my life. But I'm just grateful to God that this book is here, and it's really going to be a blessing to a lot of people.
For those of you that are watching and may be at a place of harboring secrets or wrestling with secrets, the one most important thing I want to leave with you is this. Your problems, whatever they are, don't deter the future that God has for you, meaning your purpose is bigger than whatever that secret or that problem in the past is or has been. And I want you to hold on to that. And I spend a lot of time talking about that in this book. God has got great things in store for you. So I would encourage you, if you haven't already, to get my new book, The People Factor, and to check in with us on tomorrow as we go further into our dialogue, because this is the year to do relationships better. Take care.